Demystifying PhD Admission in Computer Science, written by ThanhVu Nguyen, read by Zakir Hassan, Mymensingh, Bangladesh, March 2026. Chapter 4, Research Experience. I have got to study harder and publish faster. The Simpsons. Here we look at publications and other research experiences that can strengthen your application. D provides more information on how to find research opportunities. For example, during your undergrad study. Publications. The most concrete evidence of research ability is having papers in reputable international conferences or journals. Having published papers, especially at top venues, is a sign that you have been successfully involved in research. Publications are never required for PhD application. However, given the competitiveness of CS admission, they can significantly strengthen your application and are becoming the norm. Applicants admitted to top schools, especially in popular fields or areas of research such as ML and NLP, often have multiple first-authored papers at top places. Figure 4.1 shows example of applicants to Stanford CS PhD. Not the first author. Being the first author typically means own the work and therefore knows the research well. However, it's perfectly okay to be second or third or even last. AdCom members know it is difficult to publish a good paper, and so being a co-author is still a good sign about your research experience. In any case, especially in the case when you are not the first author, you should explain the work and your contribution. Better yet, have your fellow writers talk about your work and contribution in their letters. Publications not relevant to CS or your research interest. If you have published papers in other fields, for example, physics, math, or even CS, but not in your research interest, you should still talk about them in your SOP and upload them as writing samples. Also, have your fellow writers talk about them in their letters. While not as strong as CS publications, they still show your research ability and experience, which is what AdCom members care about. What if you don't have any publications? Many students do not have the opportunity to publish papers. Thus, other writings, even those under submissions or even rejected, would still help. Be sure to upload your this with your application and mention them in your SOP. AdCom members can quickly skim over the paper and determine its quality. Note that local conferences and non-English journals or conferences do not carry as much weight since their quality is often unknown. However, if you have published in such places, you should still upload them, mention them in your statement, and explain why they are good. Work experience. Research experience at well-known laboratories such as Microsoft Research can strengthen your application. The emphasis here is research work, not software development or non-research work. For example, working at a FANG, Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, Google company as a software engineer does not count as research experience. While it can be helpful for MS applications, software development, even at a top company, does not demonstrate your research ability and potential for a PhD program. Similarly, a LOR from your supervisor for non-research experience might not count much. So, do not spend much time talking about development job in your SOP. Note that AdCom reviewers might not be familiar with all research labs, especially those outside the US. For example, while Bean AI is well known in Vietnam and potentially in Asia, it might not be well known in the US. So you or your LWR writers should explicitly say something about them in your statement or letter. In general, if you did some good research work, then you should mention that in your SOP and ask your supervisor to write about it in their LOR. Competitions. Winning internationally recognized competitions can demonstrate your research potential. For example, participating in math Olympiads if you want to do theory or winning ACM programming contests if you want to build systems. For example, research prototypes. So, do talk about them in your SOP and have your LO writers mention them in their letters.